Hello and welcome to the Joy Journey podcast. Today's conversation is for you if you have ever felt the quiet pressure to be who you should be instead of who you truly are. If you've had those nudges or are having those nudges that something else is meant for you, I'm hopeful that today's episode will inspire you to listen to those soul whispers, if you will. We're talking about authenticity today, about releasing those expectations, the roles, the boxes, all of the stories that were never yours to carry. My guest today is the beautiful, sparkly firecracker, Ashley Dawn. She is a powerful community builder and the heart behind a network of over 200 plus female entrepreneurs. She's courageous and empowering, and I just love her ability to show up really real. Her handle is the real Ashley Dawn. And just so authentically, she was really a breath of fresh air for me today. I'm excited for you to listen to her too. We explore today what it really means to choose yourself, even when it feels uncomfortable or when it costs you everything. We talk about starting over, getting lost, finding your way back through courage, honesty, and self-trust. This is a conversation about letting go of the shoulds and stepping into your sparkle. And I hope you enjoyed as much as I did. Grab your favorite coffee, tea, get cozy, and enjoy. Hey there, it's Jillian, your guide to all things joy, and this is the Joy Journey Podcast. Oh my God. Hello and welcome to the Joy Journey Podcast. I am your host, Jillian Shecker, and today I'm here with a lovely guest who I'm so excited to bring on. As founder of Sparkle Entrepreneur Network, Ashley Dawn leads 200 plus female entrepreneurs who refuse to dim their light. Through sharing her authentic stories and transformative coaching, Ashley empowers women to shatter the suffocating mold of should and unleash the raw power of authenticity. She doesn't just teach mindset, she ignites radical transformations that turn self-doubt into magnetic confidence. Welcome, Ashley.
I'm so excited for this.
I'm so excited too. And as I was kind of getting ready for our episode, just feeling into how many similarities we have in terms of our mission, I loved learning about your story and kind of where you're coming from. And I think you're just going to be so inspiring for our listeners today.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm so when I was thinking about, I watched you on stage at Selena Gray's Trailblazer, and I was just like, yes, that sparkle energy mixed with the pew pew joy energy. This is going to be the best thing ever. There's going to be so many laughs and so many entertaining moments. It's going to be great.
It's going to be good. You've been pew-pewed. You've been pew-pewed. You have to
Oh,
become
yeah.
a trailblazer to understand that, but it's going to be off the hook this year. So would you recommend going again this year?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've gone 2 years now. Every
Mhm.
single time I've watched myself transform after it, but I've also watched other women transform.
Yeah.
And that sisterhood is just incredible. So definitely encourage anybody who's female entrepreneur who's looking for that type of space to go for sure.
Yeah, I concur. It is so fun. And we're going to do it all again in the fall. So awesome. And that's how I met Ashley. We were just talking about how she was a table away and I kept seeing her and felt her energy. There was just so much going on there, but it was definitely like, I'll talk to you later. And here we are. Perfect timing. Okay, let's dive in. I really love this energy of releasing the shoulds. I speak about this a lot in my own coaching programs and in the Joy Nest. It's something that a lot of us are really deprogramming. So I would love to start there. I think that's a great place to start is around how so many of us have these invisible expectations and maybe take us back to that version of your life where you were supposed to be a certain way or living in the shoulds. What did it take to finally say, no, thank you to that?
It's quite a journey. So I'll take you back. But I also want the women listening to know that it's a process because you can easily slip back to falling into that person that you should be because you're hit with it all the time in the face, like every single day, whether it's your makeup, your hair, the way that you respond to somebody, right? So it's one of those things you have to be really conscious of. So when I want to say between 16 to 18, I was deciding what I wanted to do with my life. And for those who don't know much about me, I grew up in a small town. So the only restaurant that you would know in this small town is Subway because it's an oil field town. It's 1,500-ish people and there's no stoplights. Imagine small farm town
Village.
community. And yeah. So when it comes to who I wanted to be, there was this mold of who I should be. I should be. And anybody who has this life, there's no judgment at all. This just was not my future that I saw for myself. It was you were a female and I was the only daughter. And this is a very traditional raised household of you're the daughter, you stay home, you cook and clean for the men, all that type of stuff. If I followed the woman I should be, I would probably be dating some washed up hockey player who was convinced he would have gone to the NHL, like that type of energy. We all know someone in our life that is that energy. And then I probably would have been a stay-at-home mom with 4 kids, living on the farm, all of those types of things. When I decided I was going to go into psychology, that's where I was like, "Okay, I'm going to go do an undergrad in psychology." I had family members and community members literally being like, "That's a lot of money to spend on a program that you might not even like." And I'm like,
Mhm.
"But I'm telling you that that is what I want to go do." Right. But mental health was one of those things nobody really talked about in my small town. So they didn't really understand. So lo and behold, there's a lot of drama in my family about what this was going to look like. And my parents had a lot of control in my life at that time because when we're 18 and you're slowly leaving home, we all know it's a messy journey most of the time.
Yeah.
But they really told me like my way or the highway kind of messaging. And there was a conflict that happened over living arrangements in the city that they were going to help me with, things like that. And I told my parents, like, I'm not going through with this. They wanted me to sign a condo deal at the time that they were originally going to buy for me. I would live there. Sounded great. Paradise, right?
Yeah.
18, have a condo to yourself. And my friend was going to move in. And then all of a sudden, they kind of pulled the plug on that idea and they said, we're going to co sign for you and you're going to own it. And I was 18 and I was like $250,000 at 18. And we were sitting at a bank appointment. And this lady was like, Ashley, like, you do this. You're capped out on all loans for any student debt, all of that type of stuff. You can't take out anything. Right. And that one day I was like, okay, I can't go through this. And I luckily had amazing women in my life that were like, you do not let any man control you, no matter what their title is to you, kind of thing. Don't let that happen. And
Mhm.
I knew if I went into that deal, that's mortgage 18-year-old me is like 25 years of my life will be controlled or more, depending on how long it takes me to pay this.
Yeah.
So I was sitting there like, okay, what am I going to do? And I told my parents that I wasn't going through with it. And it was one of those things where I was like, my way or the highway. Cool, then get out. But I always brag a little bit about this. I was that smart, prepared, like more mature for my age type kid growing up. So when I was like, okay, cool, I already have everything packed that they didn't know about and all this stuff because I knew it was going to go south. So luckily, I had my boyfriend at the time, his mom became my second mom. And it was one of those things I went and moved in with them that night and was like, no questions asked kind of thing.
Mm.
But I didn't know that my parents, so my mom used to work at a bank. And I don't judge her or hold any grudges towards her for this. We're back in touch, all this type of stuff. But she had signed the bank agreement way back when she worked at the bank, and it was a joint account. But I didn't know that because I'm like, oh, when you're 18, your account just is now your adult account, right? Because no one talks about how all of the banking stuff works.
Mhm.
So they actually drained my bank account that night and left me with $3 to my name. I don't know why it was $3, but $3. And I know some of this stuff when it comes to the universe and just energy and all of that, it was one of those weird things where it was like, almost like I got rewarded for making the right choice because
Mhm.
my boss had messed up on a work check that was a $300 work check working part-time. And the reason it wasn't in that account was because he messed up on that. And he
Mhm.
never messed up on these checks. That was the one that he conveniently messed up on. So it was like, cool, I have $3. And then all of a sudden, surprise, actually, you have 300. I was like, oh, thank God. Like, that helps a little bit more.
Yeah.
School's not cheap. So I might need more than that.
Yeah.
Right. So I went and I deposited that, got my own account. And then I luckily had other people that taught me about like student loans and things like that, and people that helped me get to Edmonton to finish my degree.
Mm.
But when you think about that journey of who you were supposed to be, who you want to become, all of that, I was like this fierce 18-year-old. No one can tell me what to do. I'm going to go live my best life. But then before I started the Sparkle Entrepreneur Network, I kind of lost myself again. And that's why I'm sharing for women. We go through phases like this.
Mm.
Whether it's something, for example, did my whole degree, went on to find my university sweetheart for that time frame, was engaged and was sitting there at 7 years into this relationship, experiencing the pandemic while helping people through the pandemic in grad school full time, working full time. It was just chaos. Just bought a house together a year ago, all of this, and was like, this is not the life that I wanted. I fell into that should trap.
Yeah.
So I decided to press pause on grad school studies at the time. And people were like, oh my God, how did you do that? I'm like, it was actually pretty easy. I just emailed whoever and it
Handle
was
it.
fine.
Yeah.
Right. And they're like, what? You can't just pause your studies. I'm like, mentally, I need to. I will not be okay if I try to keep pushing through this right now,
Yeah.
and moved out on my own. And it just rediscovered that. So
Mhm.
it's one of those things like it's not an easy pass, but when you really focus on writing your own story,
Mhm.
that's the part that helped me. Who do I want to become? And for the listeners, there's going to be people who judge you no matter what you do. You could be the best person in the universe for everyone else's needs, but they're still going to judge you, right? So I was like, no, I'm going to choose what sparkling means. And sparkling just means it's messy. You're going to go do it. You're just going to go try to be the wonderful human that you are, and the right
Mhm.
people will flow into your life.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. And I just love it. I can so identify. I also was engaged to be married when I was in my early 20s. And what was interesting, kind of similar, there was nothing really wrong with him at all. It wasn't really even about him. It just wasn't 100% right. And I was also getting my psychology degree. And I remember standing outside smoking because I was so naughty. And I heard someone talking about going to Italy to study for a semester.
Mm.
And my whole being lit up. And it was that moment where I felt this has to happen, but my life was not set up for that. My life was set up for like a literal white picket farm fence. And I spent about a year in conflict with what I should do and who I should be versus what my heart was saying. And it was challenging, but I ended up breaking it off just because honestly, I just felt like it's actually not fair if I'm not 100% committed or in to be continuing this on because all of us deserve that person who's 100% in. And so it was really hard, but I released that relationship. And then it was, I think, a year or two later that I was in Italy studying for a semester and I followed that path, followed that dream. And looking back, I'm like, wow, so much has happened since then and now. And if I would have just continued on that should path, I definitely would have been a dimmed version of myself. So it's just so important, I think, to listen to those soul whispers and trust that it's for a reason, even if you don't know exactly what it is.
I love that you're talking about that hesitation because same here. I was sitting there again, nice guy by every standard, engineer, has everything I could possibly want in that moment. But I'm missing that adventure. I'm missing that fun kind of thing, right? So
Yeah.
I remember, I don't know if this is relatable or not, but I was literally was like, and it was October, and I was talking to my best friend, and I was crying my face off being at a bowling alley. She's like, "Ashley, we have to stop doing this. People are probably thinking I'm torturing you while we're trying to play bowling because you're always
Mhm.
crying when we're hanging out." And I was like, "I'm ready to leave all of this." And by the time she dropped me off at my car, I was like, "Nope, everything's fine. Nope, it's gonna be okay." Because I just wasn't ready for that step yet,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But when you don't listen to those nudges, it just gets louder and louder until it smacks you in the face. By December, I was like, okay, no, I have to have this hard conversation. And luckily, it's a weird dynamic. We're better friends than we were ever fully partners at the end there because we were more roommates. So it's hilarious because I co parent my chihuahua with him still. She's a rescue chihuahua, all of
Mhm.
this. It was such a beautiful, different beginning. And
Mhm.
I get to go live my best life. And it's like, okay, this actually, it was hard to go through that in that moment, but avoiding the pain was so much harder
Oh my god.
because it was months and months of feeling like you're walking on eggshells and to sleep next to somebody and be cringing because
Yeah.
you're like, something feels wrong,
Yeah.
but I don't know why it feels wrong,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And we ignore it because it becomes so automatic. We're just used to feeling that way.
Yeah. I think, what you're bringing up, I love this, is around that living in alignment. I do wanna share a little bit more about how messy authenticity can look and feel, actually. Like, living an aligned life doesn't mean that it always feels good, and this is what I teach everyone in the Joy Nest is, especially as we start to line up our lives, our spirit with our truth and our authenticity, it can be really, really uncomfortable. And a lot of us will actually avoid that path, the aligned path, because of the discomfort that it causes not only us, but to potentially hurt others around us. So I just want to celebrate you as the joy warrior that you are for being willing to face the discomfort and move through it. And this is also what I think joy requires is that willingness to meet those edges. In my work, feeling the feelings is step one of the joy method. Our aligned lives, our joy requires us to notice the places that aren't 100% and to clean them up as quickly as possibly so that we can live the big, bright, beautiful, sparkly lives that we're here to live.
Mhm. I totally agree because when I decided I was gonna become an entrepreneur then for grad school, I don't think I mentioned this earlier, but I actually dropped out of grad school and I
Mhm.
only had practicums left. Masters of counseling was like full in, and I had taken so many pauses in between the degree with the engagement falling apart. And then I had a practicum lined up, but it didn't fit because the amount of hours I'd have to give was more than my school required. And then I also, how am I supposed to afford to live when I'm living alone at the time and do practicums for basically half the time that I could work? And you're not allowed to work full time. And I'm like, well, I need to burn myself out working full time to make this fit
Yeah.
or say no. Again, that alignment piece, there was one practicum that almost lined up. It was an art therapy one. It was like, oh my God, this sounds amazing. She was like, I wasn't looking for somebody, but I read your profile and was like, yes, I know what type of work you do. I know where you work, all that stuff. This would be great. And then 3 weeks later, it was like, oh, yeah, actually, I signed it with an associate instead. I was like, you would have known at 3 weeks ago that you were planning this because she was away on vacation. So I was like, you would have known before you left. You could have just been real with me
Yeah.
instead. But then I was like, okay, maybe not. And I fought that so much. And then that's when the first time I went to Trailblazer, I was like, oh crap, now I have to drop out of grad school. It's like, I don't
'Cause
want
that's
to
what my
go like to finish that.
I gotta
Like,
blaze this path. Did you ever go back?
nope.
Okay.
So that was January of last year. So a year ago.
Okay.
And a lot of people, when they hear that I created this network and all this stuff, they're like, "Oh, you've been an entrepreneur for several years." I'm like, "Oh, no, no. I just was doing things the wrong way for the first, I would say, at least 6 months. I was trying to sell an online course, but the whole being aligned with who you are. I'm like, I'm not really, here's my face on a video and hopefully you learn something from me. I'm more of a community person. I've always been. I've always loved groups and the dynamic that group brings in. Because I think as women, again, if you want to shine being your authentic self, you need to know other humans are going to accept you for you, or else you assume you're the only one that has that flaw or whatever else, right?
Mhm.
So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this thing. And I signed up for Selena's, I can't remember what it was called, Trailblazer Experience or whatever it was called, to do the group coaching stuff. And I was like, oh, I've been actually hiding from all of the things that I'm really good at already. And
Mm.
I can just translate this into this world. And then all of a sudden it started to pick up. And I've had so over 100 women have attended my events. And these are intimate events. So it's not like I did this massive thing. I literally was like, I'm going to just do 3 free events to see if people actually like this and see if my introverted self, because most of the time I'd rather be at home. Like I'm not this
Bless.
big social
Sweatpants,
butterfly.
if pants.
Oh, yeah. Everyone's like, "Oh, yeah, you must love and you must be, like, extroverted." I'm like, "No, I've trained myself to be out of the house a little bit more." But I'm like, "This is where I started," and
Yeah.
people loved it, and then
Mm.
it just kept growing and growing and growing, and that sparkle energy, people are like, "Oh my god, I want more of it. What are you doing next?" So it,
Yeah.
like, just kept snowballing, and I haven't had any regrets. I haven't been
Mm.
able to quit my full-time job just yet, but I know it's coming.
Yeah.
Beautiful opportunities have come into my world
Yeah.
because I put myself out there and I'm willing to just be myself. People are
Woo!
drawn to authenticity
Oh,
more
yeah.
than they're drawn to like fakeness, right? If I was in
100%.
a room with fake people, I cringe. I'm like, oh, I really wish you could meet me on this level, but I know you're not there yet to be your full self just yet, right?
Oh my gosh, Ashley. Okay. I just want to celebrate the shit out of you for just showing up so real. And I know it's part of what you do, but to me, like, this is your sparkle because I could sense a lot of people might come onto a podcast like this and need to present a certain way or should themselves into like, okay, I'm not going to talk about this. I'm not going to talk about that. I love the fact that you're leading with vulnerability. I love that you're just calling it as it is. I just started this. Okay. And there's nothing wrong with that. I love that you're sharing that you still have your full-time job, which to be honest with you, in all of my coaching, in the facilitator program, in all of it, I always encourage people to keep their, we'll call it a day job, just for better lack of term, to keep their day job or whatever that is that relieves the pressure while you're building your dream life, your dream job, whatever that piece is. Because I know a lot of people who have burned down that safety net. And for some, that's really inspiring and encouraging and motivating. But for a lot of us, it actually just increases pressure. And it's really hard to put pressure on a new baby, a new business. So you don't necessarily want to do that. I often will encourage everyone to keep what you've got. We want to actually create a lot of stability, especially for our nervous systems, especially after the past 6 years. It's actually like, how do I create this internal sense of safety as I build this dream career, dream business, so that I can actually show up in abundance instead of scarcity? What happens is when you burn down the safety net too quickly, it creates scarcity and lack. And then you're coming from a place of pressure and having to instead of getting to. I also just love that you're coming on and sharing this. Can I just share how I look at our JOBs until we release them for those of us who want to step into entrepreneurship? Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Is most businesses, when you think about it, would actually take a loan. Like brick and mortars would actually get a business loan. So for most of my clients who are actually have a job that's supporting them, in the meantime, I actually get them to look at themselves like the angel investor. You're your own angel investor at this point, right?
Yeah.
And so it's your funneling into your dreams, building your dream business while having something that's supporting you at the same time. It's a very abundant state, would you say?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
wouldn't be able to do both
No,
to go burn all the bridges. I wouldn't sparkle. I would literally be like, "Oh
crumble.
god, where is the next
You'd be more of
dollar
a crumble
coming
cake,
from?"
not a sparkle cake, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
But I just love it. I love your realness to be able to come on and do that. I know a lot of people who feel like they have to pretend or position themselves as a certain way. And to be 100% frank, I do think this is where imposter syndrome comes from because we are actually an imposter. You're not actually doing the things that you're saying you're doing. We need to be in integrity. And there is nothing wrong with leading with honesty when it comes to sharing where you're actually at and as you're experiencing. People will step in with you because of your honesty, not because of your positioning, not because you're saying that you do certain things that maybe you don't do yet, or you're at a certain place where you're not yet. It's being where you are and owning it. I think that is creating that sense of connection.
Maybe this is relatable for some people, maybe it's not. But part of the reason that I did do all of that was because, like, I can't fake. It's like when you open a bad Christmas present, you can tell when I'm not being myself and I'm being really fake. Like,
Oh,
"Oh,
really nice.
yeah, oh my god, it's so great." Like,
Toblerone,
I
love
can't
it.
do that energy.
I actually do love
It's just
Toblerone.
not me. When
Yeah.
I started doing these events, I was like, "Okay, what do I hate about some of the networking events, and what did I love about it?" Right? How can I bring in my strengths and kind of run with it? And that was where a lot of women connected with this part of me just pre-framing, be show up as yourself. Because
Mm,
so many women are like, I need to have the perfect elevator pitch or all of this stuff. I have one photo that I think was okay, sorry, I lied. Two photos that were like done at events that are more professional photos for my business. Everything else was just me doing my own thing or getting friends to do it
yeah.
until yesterday. That was my first branding shoot. But so many women are like,
Wow.
I have to have like all of this stuff like all figured out kind of
Yeah.
thing. And they put so much extra pressure.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, just show up, be yourself. Tell me what you want to tell me about yourself, kind of thing. And some people hate it, some people love it because they're like, well, wait, what do you want me to say? And I'm like, whatever you want to say. Right. And they're
They're
like,
like,
no, give me some reference. I'm like, okay, so you can go last. So that way you get some time to see what other people are sharing if that's what you need to feel safe. Right.
yeah.
But it's literally, it feels like we're going for dinner with friends, not this tell me exactly how much revenue and income you're making. And even having sponsors at events sometimes, right? It takes away from some of that genuine connection.
Yeah.
So I kept them really intimate on purpose where it's focused on let's actually get to know each other.
Yeah.
And some people don't feel safe to shine. I talk about if I gave someone my sparkle blazer or my sparkle boots, half of the people be like, "Oh, I feel uncomfortable being this seen," right? And
Yeah.
that's partly why I think we're making so much eye contact was because I'm sure with all the light that was reflecting a little bit. But anyways, I really try to go like, let's take a turn to everybody share who they are at the table and really celebrating the women who are brave enough to just get themselves out there and start because those are the women that need the more hype stuff. We all need a hype girl.
Yeah.
But when you're just starting and you're questioning yourself, being like, why am I not at this level or this? That's when we start to quit. So wherever I can, I'm highlighting all of those strengths in people to be like, you don't know this yet. but that's what I see in these people that I hang out with all the time. I always joke around. I hang out with millionaires now as a part of what I do because I've built the connections.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that is what successful people do is they put themselves out there and they're okay to be themselves.
Yes, it's true. Yeah, there's nothing that separates us. I love this so much. I wanna know, you said you're an introvert. Do you should yourself to put on these events? Tell me about why events. Have you always loved events? Do you love styling? What about events really, like, jazzes your pants?
So,
Why events?
okay, when I think about the extrovert introvert scale, I'm ambivert or whatever the middle
Me
one is,
too. High
a
five.
little bit more. Yeah. If you ask my boyfriend, he'd be like, "You never leave the house." I'll go hang out with friends and stuff, but I'm that person, I don't need to go hang out with friends every week or those types of things. I'd much rather hang out with my dog. It's just one of those people. So for events, when I was thinking about, okay, so how can I frame this in a way that I'm going to want to show up? And I tell introverted people, come to my events. They're like, I love this. I don't have to talk to like 300 people in
Yeah.
one room or even 25 sometimes can be overwhelming. I had to convince myself to leave the house. So I needed to make it worth my time. So definitely I wanted to make it worth your time too, right?
Yeah.
So I try to, instead of going like, I should talk to everybody at the table or I should do all of these things, I really focus more on what my goals are. So it doesn't feel like I'm adding all this like extra pressure of exactly how it should be performance wise. So I set a really big goal that I love. I started this goal sometime mid last year, where I want to help 10,000 women over the next 5 years sparkle being themselves. So whether
Mhm.
that's through coaching, events, speaking, all of that stuff. So instead of going, well, I have to do this and I should do this and whatever, I go, my events are touching 12 people in that moment to help them find some little way that they can sparkle. Because then
Mhm.
if I'm doing it that way, it's more aligned with where I'm going than
Mhm.
it is if I'm like, well, so and so did an event exactly like this, so I should include this and I should have this piece and all of that type of stuff. So does that kind of answer your question?
Yeah. Yeah, I really identify with ambiversion. I just want to be clear because I think I've been in business for like 10 years now in full time business. And I think I forget about what it was like to start out. And I love the opportunity to actually share the truth about how tricky it can be and how challenging it is. And often we only get to see each other's highlight reels. So I'm the same. Like I think we're very, very aligned with the authentic sparkle. And so it's really around that I don't even love it's not that I love speaking on stages. It's my mission to actually ignite light and remind people of their joy and how it's actually a daily practice and it's available to all of us. It is my message and my mission that drives me to speak. Even doing this podcast, like none of this is comfortable for me, but it's my mission to light up the world from the inside out together that drives me. And I think a lot of people are shocked when I say that because you would think that I just love everything I do. And I do. Once I'm in it and I'm doing it, I love it. But it does require me to kind of get past maybe that aspect of me that would rather just lay like a log and cuddle my dog.
Oh,
So
yeah.
kind of same thing. I also love being home. I'm a Cancerian, and now I live in the country. I could literally never leave my house and be happy, but I also have a really big mission and vision, and it's a collective one, and so that's what pulls me, and I remember that, especially on days when I maybe don't feel like doing the thing. It's like, okay, it's coming back to the why, and I think that's what I also am here to teach people and connect people to is what is that thing that actually gets you out of bed and gets you out and makes you want to say yes to things that might make you feel really uncomfortable and walk those edges. Yeah.
I think you're bringing up an important point too of what is getting me out. So because I'm so new to business, it really was an experiment. And that was another thing that saved me from this is going to be hell. I have to lead people when I don't really want to put myself out there so much at the very beginning. Now I love doing it. It's easy, like love doing it kind of
Yeah.
thing. But at the beginning I was like, oh, everyone's here relying on me. Ah. And then all of a sudden I started wearing sparkle boots and became a new woman, was like, okay, if I can wear these everywhere I go, the
Yeah.
confidence just skyrocketed. But we really have to think about what is this going to teach me? What is this going to help me do? Instead of it being like, if this doesn't work out, it's the end of the world. I was doing events and I was doing 2 events per month. So I was doing 10 to 12 people was the goal per event. And there were some events where it didn't work out. For example, back in October, there was the teacher strike. some parents were like, I actually can't come to your event.
Mm,
I have to take care of my kid. I can't afford to be able to add extra costs right now, kind of thing, because I have to figure out tutoring and all this other stuff. And I know my first event, I was really ambitious. So my first free thing, it was 8 a.m. on a Saturday in the far, far deep south of Calgary.
mm,
One person showed up, but we had the most genuine, authentic conversations, and we're still in touch since that happened, kind of
mhm,
thing, right? So I really looked at it like, what can this teach me? What can I take away from this? I remember vividly one of my Sparkle Entrepreneur clients, she came up to me and was like, aren't you ever scared that nobody would show up? And I'm like, "Oh, yeah." Like, every time there's that fear that, like, maybe people won't show up, maybe something happens, whatever, right? But at the same time, I'm like, "But what if 12 women show up and we build the most amazing connections?" The photo shoot I was mentioning yesterday, all 3 women that were there were people I met through my own network. So the
mm.
photographer, the makeup artist, and then I had a friend come to help me, be an extra person to be a prop to take some photos for the branding part,
God bless
right?
prop
And I was
friends.
yes, yes, she's great. But I was like, I just need an extra human in that picture to make it really complete. And I
Mhm,
was like, she was the first person that came to mind was like, yes, she would be so great in this. She looked at me, she's like, so you met all of us through your network? And I was like, yeah. Because again, I took that as an experiment and now I have business besties. So
yeah,
I also think that sparkling piece, sometimes we have to like change our environment
yeah,
to really be able to shine, right? I
yeah,
think that kind of highlights everything that we were talking about today
yeah.
is you can't stay in that relationship that's not going anywhere. You can't stay in that job that's not going to bring you all of the light kind of thing. You can't quit things before you're ready to be able to shine brighter. Just go for it is my message all the time if it's going to help that sparkle come back.
Yeah, I love that. I also feel like way back when one of my coaches, Coach Tanya, said to me, there's no such thing as failure if you're failing up. And that gave me so much permission to just try. And I think this is the thing that's really important for us to remember, especially as entrepreneurs, is that if you have that desire, well, from a law of attraction perspective as well, for me, I'm like, if I have the desire, it means it can be fulfilled. There would be no reason for me to have it if it wasn't fulfillable. I don't know if that's a word, but if it feels pretty fun. So it's just knowing that we're actually here to learn and grow, and often learning and growth in the humanness looks like failure, but from a soul perspective, it's just learning. This is how we actually get wisdom. And so to just look at it differently, there will always be something to learn. Everything is an opportunity for growth. And so looking at it differently instead of more of the ego perspective, which is, oh, I could fail or maybe no one will show up, is the soul perspective, which is what am I going to learn? And then I would even go to the deeper perspective, the joy perspective, which is what do I get to share here? And bring it back to the why and the mission. So I feel like you're absolutely in your joy. I love your voice. One last question is around visibility, and how did you get yourself to not only put pants on, but put sparkle boots on? What was the shift to the next level? Was it like, "Okay, I'm friggin' going for it, so I'm just gonna go full out," or what was that? Tell us the piece about the actual sparkle.
I actually found the sparkle boots. People are always like, "You bought these for your network, right?" I was like, it was just a happy coincidence that they were sparkle cowboy boots because I was going to Brett Kissel was in Calgary, so I was like, "Ooh, I need sparkle boots." And it was right around the Taylor Swift era, so all the Swifties were coming up to me to be like, "Oh my god, do you also love Taylor?" I'm like, "Oh, like I'm not a diehard fan like you are," kind of thing. Like that's not why I bought these,
Yeah.
right? And people were coming up to me to talk to me all the time because of my boots. Before, I was so worried, what are they gonna think? Because 'Cause I'm not gonna lie to you, when I first started wearing them, I gotta work these in a bit because 'cause they're not super comfortable right now, so I'll just wear them wherever, and, I'd be wearing yoga pants with my, like,
Yeah,
cowboy boots and just some random clothes
just
on,
nailing
and
it.
people are like, "Oh my god, how is she wearing those? That outfit doesn't make sense 100%." But
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, well, I'm going to the grocery store, no shame, gonna go do this kinda thing," right?
You're
And it
welcome.
kinda just yeah. It kinda just grew. That sparkle piece, I was always like, I wanna help women find their sparkle was where that entrepreneur mindset came from.
Yeah.
I've done it for myself. I wanna help other women get that. And I
Mm.
was like, this is just like that convenient thing. And then I wore them the one day and a little girl came up to me and was like, "What?" I don't know how to show you how tall she is, really little, probably 4 years old. She was like, "You can wear those wherever you want." And I was like, yeah, technically, if you feel comfortable, you could wear these if you wanted to. And just that smile on her face, I was
It
like,
meant you
"Oh
to
my
be
god,
who
this is
you are.
becoming such a" exactly, such a bigger symbol than I
Yeah.
ever could have imagined. So
Yeah.
then after that, I was like, "Okay, cool." Now I go to events, I have my sparkle boots on, and even events where the dress code is wear pink or wear this other color or whatever. I'm like, "Do I have to for this event? Because that's not really my vibe. I'm all black and sparkles is my
Yeah.
energy." And they're like, "You can wear whatever you want." I'm like, "Okay, perfect." So for branding even, it helped so much because being an introvert, this is a life hack for anyone listening. If you want people to come talk to you, if you have a group chat before an event or you have a way to connect with people before an event, I literally would say things like, "I'll be in black and all sparkles." So I didn't actually have to do anything because people would just start coming to talk to me
Yeah.
because I'd be noticeably the only person wearing that outfit. So I was like, "Yes, this is amazing. I can just show up." And then the sparkle blazer that you saw at Trailblazer, that was an Amazon slash I added extra sparkles. I also bedazzled my laptop, so we've
Embellished
gone a little bit
and
extreme.
Ashley special, we'll call it.
Oh, yeah. Everyone will be able to see on my Instagram soon what I mean with this photo shoot. It's all
Yeah.
sparkles. Again, they knew who I was
Yeah.
without me having to really share that piece because there's very few people who wear that much sparkles to things. It made it being visible easier because it just became I was noticeable in a way that wasn't threatening of like, "Oh my god, everyone's staring at me." Because life hack I've learned in my 7 plus years in psychology is while I'm worried what everyone else is thinking, they're
They're
worried
all
about
worried
the
about
same thing.
themselves. Yep. We're
Oh,
all
yeah.
good. We are all good, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Oh my gosh, I just want to ask one more question for any listener who might be in a season of should in their life. Someone listening who feels trapped by expectations or judgment or the fear of disappointing others. What's one word of wisdom that you would give to that person?
I think, again, we're worried what other people are thinking about us. So sometimes we might be like, oh my God, this person's going to judge me hardcore. I mean, it's relationships. This could be the thing that's a deal breaker for so and so, and maybe they don't want me in their life anymore. Right. So
Mhm.
we hide it for years upon years. But if we just decide, hey, I want to be more present with you and I want you to know who I really am and try it with safe people. Always, I would start with safe people that you feel like you can at least slightly be yourself. Don't go to the person that's the most hardcore person and try them first because it'll never work out the way you were
Yeah,
hoping, right?
yeah.
But finding that or finding new people to get you more comfortable with doing that.
Mhm.
And also, you're not meant to be the should version of yourself,
Yeah.
right? So sometimes you have to give up that person, but that means you also give up the people sometimes or the environments that you were in, but that doesn't mean it's necessarily a bad thing. We can grow and expand and still I can't remember who says this, so whoever deserves credit, I hope that they know that it's them, right? But loving people from afar. I can
Mhm.
still have people I care about that are just on the outskirts kind of thing where I don't care that much about their opinion that I'm like it will make or break my success in life,
Mhm.
right? We only get this one life, we might as well live it to the biggest and fullest version of ourselves because I don't want to be the person that when I'm 80, I'm looking back and being like, I never took that trip. I never did that challenge. I did this exact thing forever because I was just scared. And I make the joke sometimes people are scared of what the neighbor's cat thinks because that is what it feels like when we're hiding so much, right? Like,
Mhm.
oh my God, the cat's judging me from across the street.
Yeah.
And the cat doesn't care. They're just staring at whatever, or they're staring past you, whatever
Yeah.
it is. So really just go for it. And you'll be surprised. You gain the confidence as you're doing the things.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh my God, this was so incredible. And when you see your own light through
Mhm.
other people too, it was at the beginning, I didn't see my light as bright as I did now, but it was reflected back. People gaining the confidence to show up to more events. And one of my clients, she's like killing it. So she gets all the praise all the time.
Yeah.
She always like, oh yeah, so I've done these things. And I'm like, guys, just so you know, this was since May. She did all these things since May.
Yeah.
And she was like, thank you for bringing that out. Right. And
Yeah.
I was like, it's always been there. It's just
Yeah.
sometimes we need that other person to reflect it off of. Right.
I love it. All sparkle references. I love it. And it's just coming up to just maybe add the cherry on top, which is something that I teach as well around confidence. And the truth is, confidence is something that comes with practice. So all you actually need in order to create a shift or to shine your light is courage. That would be really all it is to have the courage to take those next best steps. And we need to know so much less than we think. I teach branding and joyful branding, and I even sometimes do branding. And I even think, we're moving into the era of frequency focused energy and more people can feel you. This is why authenticity, I think, is so important. And it's going to be the differentiating factor with AI specifically is to be able to show up genuinely who you are and shining from a place of embodiment, not pretend or shoulding or anything else. It's literally just being who you are and trusting that everything gets to unfold from there and really truly making our own alignment the number one priority, which is what you are doing. And yeah, I just really want to celebrate you. This has been so fun to just chat and find out more about you. You're just a little force. You're a little firecracker, little sparkly firecracker. I love it. Would love to just wrap up by you just sharing with listeners where we can find more of you. Where can we sign up?
Yeah. So on Instagram, it's the real Ashley Dawn and not real as in Instagram real, the real, like authentic real. And then you can also find me at my website as well. So the sparkleentrepreneur.network.com.
Amazing. Ashley, thank you. Thanks for sharing your sparkle with us today.
Thank you so much.